Hello ladies and gents, welcome to the channel, Mantalk Productions here. Today is the release of the official update for the Sky Simulations DC-9. Yep, so it's gone live, and all of that beta testing I did, now I can actually fly an official patch, the first patch, with the rest of you guys. So I'm going to just take it on a short regional flight here in the US. And see what's changed, what's different, or if there's any last things that were snuck in that I was not aware of as a beta tester for the patch. So a couple of nice things. One really nice thing is that the dev has added a few more liveries to the update, and I particularly like the Northwest livery. I can see myself flying a lot of these vintage or retro regional liveries on the DC-9. I know there was a Swiss Air one that was also done, which I will look forward to flying as well. That's quite high resolution. Wow. Okay, so let's jump on board and let's see what's what. Okay, cool. So everything is as I left it, as far as I'm aware. It's a lot quieter now as well, which is good. Okay, so we will first deal with the weights and balances. The flight plan. I can fetch the official flight plan, although the problem here is that the aircraft type is not the right aircraft type, because we don't have an official SimBrief profile for either at this point. So what I'm going to do, I know the route length is 186 nautical miles on SimBrief, so I'm literally just going to hit medium. Well, that's actually only like 2 passengers, so I'm gonna add some passengers, and I'm gonna leave it there. So we have 1231. Let's just change that so we know 12.4 when we hit update. 12.4, there we go. Okay, so that is now live, so that's what we can expect. Let me just rearrange a few things here. So I'm going to be trying to do this flight as per the checklist, to the best of my ability. So I'm really going to try and push myself to do the best I can. Let's just go to chocks, pneumatic unit, front stairs. Let us open the front left doors, and let's get the stairs open as well. Never quite sure exactly. That click spot doesn't really... Oh, there it is, okay. Now, is there a way for me... Oh, behind that glass is quite cool. Is there a way for me to connect the jet bridge and take down the rails? I can't remember if there is or not, so... Anyway, let's have a look at my... Okay, passengers. Yes, that's not gonna work. So GSX isn't really going to work for us. Okay, so now that we've done our weights and balances, let me just show you my flight plan for today. It is a super simple departure from Detroit, flying out to the London VOR, and then inbound to Toronto. So nice and short flight. It's going to be IFR. We've got some low-lying cloud and sleet. It's about 3 degrees on the ground, and it's about -1 or 2 degrees at Chicago. At Toronto. So we're going to be climbing to 13,000 feet today. So not terribly high, but we should be able to trial the icing situation. Sorry, so I just sort out my life. Oh, I haven't created a profile on Volanta for this particular DC-9, but that is okay. We're just going to rock and roll with what I've got, and I can deal with that later. Okay, so this is add flight plan. There we go. And what is the it's November. Okay, so it's November 8914 Echo. You know, I might as well just create new. Let's go. Registration November 8914 Echo, and the aircraft type is a DC-9-1. So it's DC-9-1. Create. Okay. Sweet. Sorted. Okay, that's done. It's a little bit bright outside, but it's because there's so much overcast fog that it's causing the dynamic 2024 exposure settings to ramp up, and it's making the exposures just a little bit bright. But there we are. So, okay. So now we're in the aircraft. We've sorted that out. What we could do is connect to VATSIM now. We're going to be flying because we have some Detroit ATC, which is always great. While we get that sorted, let's go to our checklist and let's go through the cockpit preparation checklist. Logbook is checked. Circuit breakers are checked. Gear handle check down is checked. Pneumatic crossfeeds, we need to have those open. Battery switch needs to go on. That is on. Fire test needs to be checked. I believe the fire test now, that's the CVR test. Okay. Fire test on the left and right, at least, is done. So electrical power needs to be checked. Okay, so electrical power needs to be checked. So what have we got? We're on the battery voltage. There you go. There's the battery voltage, and there is the battery ampage. Those two are live. That's good. We should go on to external power soon, I hope. Emergency power checked and off. The emergency power is checked off, yeah. Evac signals need to be armed, so let's go. Evacuation signals should go onto arm. Probe heat needs to be checked. So the probe heat is here. Let's go on to the captain. That's the primary. Windshield anti-ice needs to be set and checked. Now, let's just have a look. Can I remember exactly how to find the ambient temperature inside the aircraft? I can't off the top of my head quite remember where that is. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go to the METAR, which is saying 3.3 degrees and light rain. It's now 3.9 degrees and light rain. The wind is 13 knots, gusting 21, so that's going to be fun. So with the ambient temperature being below 10 degrees, we do need anti-ice. So I am going to put windshield anti-ice on preemptively. Anti-skid needs to be armed and checked. I seem to remember the anti-skid. Is it down here somewhere? No. Oh no, I know where the anti-skid is. It's all the way up here. There it is, armed. Overhead panel, test panel, checked. I need to do an overhead panel test. Test CKT test. Not quite sure what that did, but the flood, circuit breaker, these are lights. I'm not sure about that test. Ah, no, cockpit voice. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to turn on the ground power. GPWS needs to be checked. And again, these are things I'm going to be missing, but I need to learn where they are. I'm going to skip that. Cabin signs need to be on and set. fuel pumps need to be checked and set. So we have fuel in all 3 tanks. So we're going to turn on the pumps in the middle. I'm just going to turn that cockpit noise down slightly because that is a little bit on the loud side. Flight and voice recorders checked and set. So they are up here. Test. Whatever that did. Yeah. External lights need to be set. So for our external lights, we're going to do position lights, which is the first stage of that 3-stage switch, and that's all we're going to do now. Air conditioning needs to be set. So the air conditioning, we'll leave the bleeds off for the moment. And we're going to go up to 13,000, so let's just set that on the pressurization, which is the next thing. And then the air condition auto shut off needs to be on arm. Not quite sure what that means, but okay, there's 13,000, and we're going to have a climb rate of 7. That's kind of what I've been told to do so far. And what was that other thing I just read? So that was the air conditioning pressurization. Air condition auto shut off needs to be armed. Ah, there it is, and it is in the arm position. Okay, annunciator panel and lights need to be checked. So here is the annunciator panel. I don't remember where that button was. Hostess call, mech call. Caution warning. There you go. There you go. Lighting them up like a Christmas tree. Everything looks like it's working as it should. Okay. Radio equipment needs to be checked and set. Okay, so for our radios, we are going to first do our nav radios, and our one and only VOR we're going to need, let's go and put these on, is 117.2. So let's put that in the box. 117.2. And the range should cover both Detroit and Toronto, so we should be okay. And the frequency, if I just connect to VATSIM now, it's going to be DC-9 like so, and it's going to be Northwest Airlines 231, I think I had on SimBrief. Yes, 231. And I'm going to connect. Okay, so it will pull up the frequencies, and we'll pull up our we see ATIS for a couple of different places here. Yeah, let's go and listen to ATIS first, actually. So let's go pause track IR and put that in the box in nav1. So we are Northwest 231, and ATIS is 133.675. So can we select? No. Oh, 133. 133.675.
Runway 3 left. Runway 4 right. Runway 4 right, departure point is Quo. Distance remaining is 11,450 feet. Full length available upon request. Notices to air missions VFR aircraft say direction of flight. Repeat call runway hold short instructions. Operate transponder on mode Charlie on all taxiways and runways. Advise on initial flight. You have information Delta.
Okay, information Delta, that was just blasting in my
Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport ATIS information Delta 1806 Zulu Special. Wind 1208 gust 21. Visibility 2 and 1 half. Light rain. Mist. Ceiling 600 overcast. Temperature 4. 2.4. Altimeter 2983. Simultaneous ILS-V runway 4 left and ILS runway 3 right approaches in use. Departing runway 3 left. Runway 4 right. Runway 4 right departure point is Quo. Distance remaining is 11,450
Okay, that's as much as I can deal with that. What I got was information Delta altimeter 29083, departure runways with 3 left and 4 right. And he was saying something about departure 4 right, and I couldn't for the life of me tell what that was. So hopefully he'll give us 3 left. So, okay, so we're going to go to Detroit approach. No, that's Dallas Fort Worth. Is that Dallas Fort Worth? No, that's DTW. Yeah, that is Detroit approach. Is going to be 126.225. So let's go there next. 126 and 225. Oh, that's 2.5. I need 2.25. Okay, sorted. Okay, so that is the comms. And oh, actually, and I did realize this. If I go to settings and I go audio, these were not set. So let me set that. It is not the camera. I think it's that one. And the output device should be speakers USB device. Okay, hopefully that works, and we'll see. Also, let me just double check my audio again before I go. Let's just make sure that's up a little bit more. Okay, so what's the next on our list? Is a rudder power. Needs to be on power. It looks like we've got rudder power. I can't ever remember seeing a rudder power switch, although it could be rudder travel unrestricted. Rudder power. Not seeing rudder power, but if I see it later on, I'll know. I've never had to deal with rudder power as an actual stabilizer trim needs to be set and checked. Okay, so for this is important. Now that we've got our weights and balances set, we know that we have a zero fuel weight of 67,000 pounds. We know our takeoff weight needs to be a 19. Is in this band, and we want to take off flaps. We could take off flaps 10. The flaps 10 takeoff for 19 is 4.4. So let's put 4.4 in the box, which is about there. So that's the stabilizer trim has been set. The hydraulic power needs to be set and checked.
Departure, Spirit Wings 827. We're North Terminal with information Delta, and we'd like to request 3 left for departure.
So Wings 827, no problem. Runway Detroit departure, no problem. Runway 3 left, taxi via Kilo, Victor.
3 left is a little bit short.
Mike, cross runway 9 left.
Although
Kilo,
we
Victor,
are small.
Shot Mike, cross 9 left, Spirit Wings 827.
We are quite small. I think we should be able to deal with 3 left. Gear handle and lights and horn need to be checked. Yeah, 3 greens, gear handle, lights, and horn. Autopilot servos need to be on. Crew stations, crew papers need to be checked. O2, masks, and supply. Is there a click spot for that? No, but that's where we would check our oxygen. Oh yeah, and we check it down here. Let's go normal. And normal, supply on. Takeoff warning needs to be checked. Oh, we got some. Now, when it says takeoff warning checked, I think we're okay. Oh, takeoff warning, as in... Yeah, that. Parking brakes need to be parked and checked. They are parked. Horizons and compasses, checked and cross-checked. Yep, so both horizons and the compasses are about 35, 35, 30, 35. Yeah, okay. Altimeter needs to be 29083. I'm going to hit the B key, and it's going to sync 29083 on either side. Okay, stabilizer trim tabs. That's what I have set. Why is that different from stabilizer trim? Stabilizer trim tabs. What's the difference between stabilizer trim and stabilizer trim tabs? I do not know. Aircraft log and maintenance release checked. Fuel, oil, and hydraulic quantity. So we've cross-checked it. We've checked our fuel. Hydraulics are okay, and the auxiliary is on, and that's in the green on that side. We should be okay. Yeah. Stabilizer. Why is there a third mention of the stabilizer? Takeoff data has been checked and set. EPR bugs. Okay, so the EPR bugs. This is what we use to set our EPR bugs. And this knob at the bottom spins. There's 3 positions for this knob, and each position gives us different data. As you can see, the static takeoff thrust is this. The MCL, that's the maximum climb. Is that MCL? MCL stands for max. I want to say MCT is maximum climb thrust. Flex takeoff, and MCR is maximum cruise thrust, I think. I'll have to look at the manual again and just come back to you with a correction for that in cruise. So based on our ambient temperature, which is, oh well, there you go, there's our ambient temperature. It's actually only just above 0. We can do let's go flex takeoff is going to be a 2.1. Well, actually no, it's going to be just above a 2 on our EPR. So essentially we can give this thing almost full welly on our way out of here, which is going to be good. Because the runway, I don't trust the fact that runway length isn't really as long as some other runways I've taken off on. And it's a bit of a slug to take off in this thing. So set 2.0 on both sides. 2.0 set. And departure clearance needs to be received. Okay, so before we pass by that checklist, we now need to contact departure and get our clearance. So let's pause track IR, and let's call up Detroit departure. Just double check he's still online, and oh, I need to also file my flight plan, lol. So let me do that now. Let me go and do that through SimBrief, because it automatically fills in all those details for me. Let's go pre-file on VATSIM. Okay, so it is a DC-9 1.
Delta 827 winds 110 at 8 gust 21 on a 2.
5,000. Remarks.
On after best runway 3 left for takeoff.
Non-GPS.
On our best 3 left, clear for takeoff, Spirit Wing 827.
Okay, file flight plan. Okay, so the flight plan is now filed, and now I can consider contacting Detroit approach. Detroit approach, good afternoon. Northwest 231, radio check.
Northwest 231, the short approach, 5 by 5.
Thanks. Northwest 231 is requesting IFR clearance to Toronto as filed with information Delta, altimeter 2983.
Northwest 231, thanks for Delta, stand by for clearance to number 1.
Stand by for clearance number 1, okay. So... While I'm standing by for clearance, let's get the door closed. Okay, that's coming in. Do we see any other traffic around at the moment? Not really. Let's get the door closed. That's closing there. Okay. Is that a Spirit Wings A321 taking off from runway 3 left? If an A321 can take off from runway 3 left, then we definitely can. I'm happy with that. Okay, we'll also get to see if the windscreen wipers work, so...
Northwest 231, I have your clearance fine, ready to copy.
Ready to copy, 231.
Northwest 231, clear to the Toronto Airport via radar vectors to the London VOR, Yankee X-ray uniform, then direct. Maintain 4,000, expect 13,000, 1 minutes after departures with me, squawk 6327.
That is cleared to Toronto as filed. Radar vectors on departure, and then inbound the London VOR. Initial altitude is 4,000 feet, expecting 13,000 feet 10 minutes after departure. Squawk 6327, Northwest 321. Correction 231.
Northwest 231, thanks for feedback, correct, push your discretion, call me taxi.
Thank you, we'll call you when ready for taxi, Northwest 231. Okay, so he's given us straight up
to... Departure Spirit Wings 827, 3,400 for 7,000.
Okay, so he's
Spirit
given us...
Wings 827, radar contact, comma maintain, 1717.
So now what we're going to do is just calculate our
17,000,
speeds. And that's going to be this PDF here that comes as part of the manual. And what we're going to do is, I'll just put this over here, we're going to look and see what our what our takeoff weight is, which is, takeoff weight is here, is 79,000 pounds, 79.2. And so essentially what we do is we go to this series and we say, what was it, 79? Yeah, 79. We find the one that's closest to 79, which is this one, these cards. And it's going to give us an estimate of our takeoff. Now, we're going to use flap 10, so it's these speeds here, 133, 137, 143. So we know our V2 is going to be 143. So let's just go and pop that 143 in the box on our ASI reference. And it might take a while, but you're flying a DC-9. What was that? 143. 143 set. We're also going to go on to heading hold for this outbound departure. I'm expecting 3 left. So that's going to be our initial heading with 3-6. So let's just set 3-6 in the box. 3-6 is set. And our initial bearing out to London VOR is actually going to be magnetic of 6-9. So let's put 6-9 in the box. Set. So those are those. So we know our EPR bugs for takeoff thrust. We know our frequencies. We've got everything set, and we've got a clearance as well. So our initial altitude, as he said, was 4,000 feet. So let's put that in the box there, and our squawk is 6327. 6327. And we're gonna go on. Is that on? Let me just double check. No, we're not squawking Charlie. If I go standby, what does that do? Yeah, it puts us on squawk mode Charlie. What does on do? Yeah, it puts us on squawk Charlie as well. I'm gonna turn that on at the hold. That's what I'm gonna do. Right, let's go back to our checklist. We've got a departure clearance, so now we're gonna go before start and departing the gate. Galley power needs to be off, which it is. Doors need to be closed. Auxiliary hydraulic pump needs to be on, which it is. Anti-collision light needs to be on, and air condition supply switches. One thing we haven't done, and is not in the checklist, is to start the APU, so we're going to do that now. Let's hit run. We have to hold down the button to just give it the first jump start. I think once it passes 10%, it is self-sustaining. And you can see indeed that those are coming up. Let's go onto the APU just so that we can see when the charge comes in. Also, when you change from APU electricity to your 2 engine generators, you have to recycle these gens. You see how they're on currently? The aircraft will take no power from the engines until you recycle them. So you have to put them back to gen reset and then back onto on, and then they will work. Okay, so that's the APU on. I've not heard the APU at all. Okay. That does work. So we're going to go on to the APU now. We're going to turn off the ground power. So that is the APU on, and we have the APU air turned on as well. And we are ready for an engine start. You can see we have pneumatic pressure. So anti-collision light needs to go on, which is now going to be that one there. And the air conditioning supply switches need to be off, which they are. Let's just double check. I genuinely think the beacon lights could actually
Wings 827, contact Cleveland Center
flash a
19.87, bye-bye.
There we go. Right,
Center,
so let's do
Wings
push and
827.
start. So let's go to GSX.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Yeah. I've heard it all before.
Compass 368, request pushback on the ground at Detroit.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine
Shall I get the
start
call
until
sign one more time?
completed and brakes set.
Compass 368.
Hello,
Is that
Captain.
com plus?
We are ready for pushback.
Compass 368, Charlie Papa Zulu 368.
Okay, so one thing with
Oh,
the
compass. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out what your call sign is, since my plugin doesn't have it. Compass 368, push and start is at your discretion. Call me taxi.
Call right for taxi, Compass 368.
so to have I set the cabin pressurization earlier on, guys. It will not work until you come down here to your left, right of the below the
Departure
throttle
checks
quadrant,
completed.
and this
Bypass
little
pin
knob
inserted.
here needs to go up. Okay, and then the pressurization will work automatically. So we're ready to push and start. And I wonder if the windscreen wipers work. They probably
gear.
don't. But who knows? I can dream. So I think he's going to give me taxi Quebec uniform. Yeah, Quebec uniform Foxtrot Mike to hold. Yeah, I think it's going to be Quebec uniform Foxtrot Mike to hold Mike 1 for 3 left. At least I believe that's what he's going to give me. Okay, so nose is going to go right.
Release parking brakes.
Park brakes released.
Commencing push.
Commencing push.
Due to
Okay,
icing
so
conditions,
what we're going to
please
do
stand
is
by
we are
until
going to
push
go
is completed and brakes are
start pump on and ground continue and engage. And there's the pneumatic pressure is a loss as the pneumatic pressure, some of the load goes into the engine. You can see N2 is spooling up. I think once N2 passes 10 to 15%, we can introduce fuel, and the engine begins to come up to life. You see N1 is just beginning up past 0%. Oh, yeah. So with MSFS 2024, it always says this tire and gear malfunction when I push back with GSX. I think it's because this GSX model, being a default, there's no custom GSX profile for this aircraft. So I think that's why it's giving me... Yeah, it's giving me the big tug. So exactly the tug that I don't need. So yeah, life in it. Okay, so again, I've not heard any significant engine startup noise from inside the cockpit, but again, sound is something that the dev is going to be addressing in a
Unlocking gear.
in a future patch, along with adding a GPS to the aircraft. Okay, so engine number 1 is coming up and going through 10% on N2. So let's go and introduce fuel. Yep, up through 15% and continuing to rise. Okay. While we're about it, let's set 1,000 feet on the radio altimeter, just to give us a gauge when we are going through 1,000 feet. And then we'll reset that to... Oh, why is that going to reset? Oh, I see. Oh, okay, never
Tow
mind
truck
then.
disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Yep, so
Left is clear.
that's a
Right is clear.
stable engine. Very nice on that side too. So we can turn off those two things there. And now that we have... Let's do the after start checklist. Air conditioning, air needs to be on auto or off. I think we'll go auto because we might forget it later on. Electrical power needs to be checked. We can now turn the... This is where we recycle. We reset the gens and then we bring them on. And then you can see that the power load comes on. Then we can turn the APU off. And then we can middle mouse scroll up on the APU master. And that's what should bring that off, and should be bringing the APU master down. You can see now on left and right, we do have a load on the electricity, so that's good. Pitot and static heaters should be on, which they are. The airfoil, I'm gonna put it all on because as soon as we take off, it's gonna be radio fan off. Oh yeah, we need to turn the Venturi radio fan on. Airfoil anti-icing as required. Pneumatic crossfeed is set. I'm going to keep those on. Annunciator panel lights checked. Everything is good except blue, which is fine. Hydraulic pressure and pumps need to be checked and on high, which they are. Okay, so that's the after start checklist. The taxi checklist, the APU is as required. We've got it turned off and is coming offline. The flight instruments need to be cross-checked. So we're heading, our direct heading is at about 3.6, that is correct on both sides. My primary nav is going to be on the captain's side. 29083 is set on both sides, and everything looks to be good. Nav aids and radar have been checked, transponder has been set. We can set that at the hold, and flight controls checked. So let's check the flight controls. Let's just look down here. We can see flight controls are good. So that's the taxi checklist complete, and we're ready to call for taxi. Detroit departure Northwest 231 is ready for taxi.
Northwest 231, roger. Squawk mode Charlie.
Okay. Charlie for 231.
Northwest 231, thanks for my 4 right at Yankee 2, taxi by uniform Yankee 2.
Sorry, do you mind if we go 3 left for 231?
Yeah, that's okay. Runway 3 left, taxi by uniform Foxtrot Mike.
Uniform Foxtrot Mike, thank you very much for Northwest 231.
No problem.
Okay, so He's given us what we wanted. We might end up eating our face because it might not, the runway might not be long enough for this. But hey, we're having fun. Let's get the nose lights on. And let's try the windscreen wipers. Nope, of course they don't work. I didn't think they would. Let's just forget about them. Oh, that's not working for me right now. Let's just set and raise our... Okay, so he said uniform Foxtrot Mike. That's uniform Foxtrot Mike. Yeah, okay, I know where I'm going. Phew, okay. Again, what a beautiful livery. Really like this livery. I'm looking forward to flying the PMDG 747-100 in this livery. Okay, uniform is what we're coming up to, so we're going to take a right on uniform. One of the things about the DC-9 I do like is that it is very FPS friendly. My computer is not the youngest, slickest thing on the corner or on the street, and therefore some of the more modern heavy-duty add-ons do kind of chug my frame rate. Sorry. That's quite heavy rain, actually, in the grand scheme of rain in Flight Sim. So, interesting. Yeah, so this is a little bit more friendly. So I've armed the speed brake, and everything seems to be ready to go. It's Foxtrot is not this. Foxtrot is the next one.
Short departure, compass 368, ready for taxi.
Compass 368, squawk 2164, 2164.
It's this one around here. There you go, Foxtrot.
Somehow I had all the right numbers in all the wrong places.
That's okay. Compass 368, thanks,
Oh, no,
runway
it's not.
4
It's
right
this
at
one.
Yankee 2.
This one.
Taxi line Zulu, Victor, Yankee, Yankee 2, cross runway 4 right, cross runway 9 left.
Runway 4 right at Yankee 2 via Zulu, Victor, Yankee, Yankee 2, cross 4 right, cross 9 left.
Keep.
Oh, interesting. Wow. They actually modeled the retainer wall there on the highway coming apart, and actually interesting. Okay, a little bit of
Northwest 231 winds 110 at 8 gust 21, flying runway heading, car maintain 4000, runway 3 left with takeoff.
cleared to take off runway 3 left, maintain runway heading up to 4,000 feet, northwest 231. Okay, so he's given us maintain runway heading and up to 4,000 feet, which shouldn't take long. So we need to make sure we don't bust 4,000 feet as we depart. Frame rates are very good. I feel like after Service Pack 1, well, sorry, not Service Pack 1, Sim Update 1, things seem to be a little bit better for me. So, good to see that. Right, so we are going to line up, get the lights on. Let's turn on the strobe, and let's get the taxi light onto high and the landing lights onto both. And just a nice lineup. And then we hit it and hope that we don't die. Okay, 3 left. We might just need to use all the runway, so let's bring the power up. Okay, power set, brakes off, let's roll. Okay. SB live, 80 knots. 100 knots. Okay, left rudder coming in, and I'm gonna have to probably aileron to the right. Yeah, more left rudder. Gusty, gusty. And there is V1. Rotate. Rotate speed there. Bring the nose up. Positive rate, gear up. Let's just trim up and engage the autopilot and turn on that. And
Minimum.
bring up the flaps because we are okay with that. Just trying to manage things here. We can climb at 2,000 feet per minute, that's fine. I just don't want to bust my 250 under 10,000. And we need to watch things now. Okay, 1,000 feet to go. Coming up through the layer. That looks weird. Okay, let's flatten out to 1,000 feet now. And let's just throttle down because I do not want to break 250.
Northwest 231, radar contact the altitude.
Altitude 3,900, Northwest 231.
Northwest 231, thanks very much. Climb and maintain 13,000, and you are clear direct the London VOR.
Climb and maintain 13,000 and direct London VOR, Northwest 231. Okay, so we can
Compass 368 winds 110 at 8 gust 21 on our 2 night train runway 4 right for takeoff.
Runway 4 right, clear for takeoff. Compass 368.
Approach, good afternoon, Delta 2450 with you passing 14,500 feet to 10,000 feet.
Okay.
Delta 2450, have anything short route to inspect the ILS Zulu runway 4 left approach.
Expect ILS Zulu runway 4 left approach, Delta 2450. Any chance we can get 03 right?
Okay, so let's go over
Okay, that's fine, yeah, expect the ILS 3 right now.
I didn't do
ILS 3 right, Delta 2450,
the full takeoff checklist. Sorry, takeoff data checked, cabin warned, flight instruments and bugs, set and check, flaps. I'm pretty sure I did a pretty good takeoff procedure there, without actually referencing the checklist. But let's go to the climb checklist now. Landing gear is up, no lights. Landing lights can come off and retracted. Spoiler can now be disarmed. Like
Delta
so.
2450, fly heading 320.
Air conditioning and auto shut off.
Maintain
Needs
6,000.
air conditioning auto. shut off.
Flight
needs to be off.
320 vectors for approach, maintaining 6,000, Delta 2450.
Oh. Is it that? No. I'm not quite sure what it means by...
Compass 368 passing 2,500 coming via SID.
So 368, D20 launch radar contact, climb maintain 1717,000.
1717,000. Compass 368.
Okay, that's 10,000. I'm not sure what air conditioning auto shut off saying it should be off is. Flaps and slaps are up, pressurization and air conditioning has been checked, and fuel pump set. Yeah. Passing 10,000, ignition as required. Yep, that's fine. Hydraulic pumps can now go on to low.
And Delta 2450, verify you're heading 320.
Confirm, we're heading 320, Delta
Let's accelerate.
2450.
A hydraulic
Okay,
pumps
must
on
be
low,
windy.
external lights,
Turn
flight
left
engine, nacelle,
15
logo
degrees
lights
for
as
weather.
required. Okay.
Left 15 degrees for weather, Delta 2450.
Okay, we're going up. We're not going up to. We're not going higher than 18,000, so we're not going on to standard barometric pressure. Look at the weather out there. Huh. And the seatbelt signs. We can. Well, let's actually have them remain set because.
Northwest 231, contact Cleveland Center 119.87. Have a safe flight. Bye.
Over to Cleveland Center 119.875. Thank you very much, Northwest 231. Let's just tune that. Cleveland Center, good afternoon. Northwest 231 with you, leveling 13,000 feet.
Delta 2278, contact approach 126.22. Over report Delta 227. Northwest 231, Cleveland, Roger.
Okay. Just coming up to and there we are at cruise. What a beautiful shot.
Jazz 2112, Boston soft line, radar service terminate, exchange of food.
That's my screenshot.
See the compass, Jazz 2112.
What a beautiful livery. Okay, so now we're in cruise. It won't take us long. Should take us about 20 minutes to get into the Toronto airspace, but Toronto is on Unicom, so things will calm down slightly. We are getting a bit fast now. We don't need to go any higher than this in terms of speed, so let's just bring back the speed there. So really, when you actually look at it, the DC-9 is not difficult to fly. If you've flown the F-28 or any of the other kind of steam gauge era stuff, it really isn't difficult. It's just a load of gauges that you're looking at rather than flat screens, which is always better for you, isn't it? So, yeah, just looking, you see the pressurization is working. You've got the cabin is still at 0 feet because the actual differential pressure goes quite high in the DC-9. So you can get quite high in the sky before the cabin even leaves the ground. And that, I think, is a DC-9 quirk. I know other aircraft, a lot more modern aircraft that have a considerably smaller differential. And maybe that's just down to the steel construction and the time period that it was developed, and they were able to put up with higher differential pressures. I think also that is a bit of a feature for aircraft that have to take off, climb to altitude quickly, and then come down quickly and land, because this is not a long-haul aircraft. So for very short, sharp differential changes, having a high differential threshold is a good idea. So I think that might be an issue, a thing as well. So it's just you have to baby the altitude a bit. We're going inbound London VOR, and that is 56 nautical miles inbound. There we go. Just getting it back on track. Set. So we're also going to have to do some planning to go inbound Toronto, because the weather is not good. So I think we should immediately start planning for that. So the weather in Toronto is going to be pretty crazy as well. Let's go over and have a look. Toronto. Here we go. So -1 and snowing. Gusting is 13, gusting to 24, which is pretty similar to Detroit, to be fair. Visibility is 1.25 miles. Ceiling of 900 feet. Overcast 900. So essentially an altimeter 3010, which is slightly higher than Detroit. What this is going to mean is that we're going to have to really stick to our ILS, glide slope and localizer, until the very last, because we're going to come down and are going to have probably no reference to the runway until we're probably 700 feet off the ground. So yeah. But yeah, there we are, guys. I mean, here's the new update. Let me know in the chat what you guys think of the update as well. It is in a flyable condition now. A lot of the issues with the release candidate, of course, have been tweaked, have been changed, and have been updated. So we now have at least a flyable candidate. Now, I'm not saying that there are still things that need to be done. The textures in the cockpit, I think, overall could be improved, because they're looking quite P3D-ish. The sounds, obviously, have always been talked about as something that need polished. And I know that the dev has mentioned that there will be a GPS added to the cockpit in a future update. So those three things I've just mentioned, I know he's, based on what he's told me, should be happening at some point in the future. And also he is going to be adding as well. If you look at these speed cards, the speed cards have the series 10, 30, 40, and 50. We only have the series 30 and 10 at the moment, but he's going to be adding the 40 and the 50 series after he has the dash 10 and the dash 30 in a stable, decent condition. So he's going to fill out the whole line of DC-9s, which is good. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so we're cruising now very nicely, stable at 300 knots, 13,000 feet inbound. Not too fast, not too slow. This is what we want. We don't want to get too crazy here, because this is just a very short flight. And Cleveland Center is going to call us to go on Unicom very soon now, so we will expect that. And then we'll be doing Unicom calls going into Toronto. And I'm thinking, yeah, the Toronto is going to be, I can see on VATSIM, if you see on VATSIM, we've got an aircraft inbound. He looks like he's going to be landing on 06 left, so we might go 06 left as well, and then we might taxi up into the parking for small regional aircraft in this quarter of Toronto. So it's basically going to be almost a straight-in approach from our direction. So yeah.
Cleveland, hello. November 560 Tango. We're in the ground at Fulton with the weather ready to get.
So while we're about it, let's get the landing. Let's get the landing speed. So
November 560
our
Tango. We're on the ground.
Zero fuel weight is 67.4. and our fuel is 9.4. So let's say we burn. Let's say, what are we burning now? We're burning 1,500 pounds an hour. So that's probably 700 pounds, 800 pounds. Let's call it 1,000 pounds. Let's call that 8.4. So that's 8. 2 8 16, 15. So that's 75. That's 75.
Never mind, 560 Romeo Tango. You're clear to the Clarksburg Airport. Via files, maintain 17,000. Departure with me, squawk 4507. Hold for release.
I'm estimating it's going to be closest to 80,000 pounds.
Clarksburg Airport.
We're going to go for a flaps 40, which is going to be a 131. I'm going to call that 131.
560 Romeo Tango, Roger. Switch back to the advisory frequency. You can call me number 1 short of the runway.
Roger, we'll call you number 1. We're going to plan runway 6.
Roger, Northwest 231 Toronto. Just combine Chicago and Toronto. It'd be better filled anyways. Switch to advisory approved. Have a good day.
Over to Unicom. Thank you very much, Northwest 231.
No worries. Skyward 4169. The approach controller is closing up. I'll be sure to follow. Your radar service terminated, so going to change your fare.
122.8. There's 122.8. And let's just double check that on, yep, 122.8. Okay. So, we're now in the clear. So what I was just doing there while he was on frequency, I was calculating our VREF speeds. And based on our zero fuel weight and our estimated fuel weight on arrival, is closest to 80,000 pounds. And flaps 40 is between 50 and 30, so I went for the 131, which is in between these two. And the way, as far as I'm aware so far, the way you have to work the DC-9 is you have to guesstimate continually. All of these little things, all of these little details, they don't give you a specific, this is what you fly, this is the speed you fly, this is the altitude, this is that. Excuse me. You have to guesstimate it. You have to use your brain. And so, oh, this, you don't want that high. So that's what we're doing. Let's go with, actually, now let's have a look at Navigraph. Let's just pull up Navigraph and have a look at our runway. Oh, we're almost overhead, actually we're overhead London VOR now, so let's just transition to heading hold for the time being. And then let's get our outbound is 6-8, magnetic 6-8, which is set. And at 4 nautical miles, let's go 6-8 as well. And we're going to have to start thinking about descending, not quite yet, but probably 36 nautical miles roughly, maybe slightly more away from Toronto. And we'll have a look at calculating that in a second. I'm just going to... Yep, so we're now overhead London. Now we're on the new leg, and we'll just let that needle settle before going back to nav hold. But the DC-9 is stable. Like it cruises nicely. It's stable. There's no auto throttle, of course, but you know, we're real men here. Give a quick right-hand glance to my wife to see if she heard that comment. Nope, she didn't. I think we're good. Right. So that is good enough for me, so let's go back to VOR hold there, and the plane will jig around a little bit to capture that new one, but that's fine. Okay, so just looking at our situation here, so we're going to be coming in on runway 06 left, which is going to be a frequency of 109.10, and it's going to be an ILS localizer of 57. So I've just written those down, and we're going to get those in the box after London, and we have a calculated top of descent at 36 nautical miles, which we're only 13,000 feet, so we're going to try and make that. We do have a functioning spoiler now in the aircraft, so maybe we can try and see if that works on our descent if need be. But as you can see, this is going to be a completely IMC approach into Toronto, which is going to be a lot of fun. I haven't done complete IMC in a little while, but glad to see that it's actually going to work. So you can see we've been cruising just above an EPR of 1.0, which really isn't much. Obviously, we're only cruising at 13,000 feet. If we were cruising at 35, 36,000 feet, obviously we'd need a much higher EPR, maybe 1.8. But is that ice I see? No, that's just bad texturing. Okay. Not long now, actually 18 nautical miles. Not long until we start our descent. And now we've gone into the cloud bank. The seatbelts are still on. Let's just go and look at our checklist. So the descent checklist, the ignition should be on. So actually let's go ignition override. I think that's up, like so. Pressurization set and checked. We can now bring the altitude down to 0. I mean, the cabin's at 0 anyway, so this is kind of redundant, but it's important that you learn that this is what you're supposed to do. So let's bring the cabin altitude down to 0, like so, and then we'll go a negative of 5. EPR bugs need to be set. So for my EPR, again, I am going to say static takeoff, flight takeoff, MCL, maximum. Okay, so let's actually, before I do anything else, let's really quickly go and grab this. It's in the manual. Let me just go grab this quickly and read this. So engines is page 83. Just quickly go page 83 and scroll through this stuff here. Here we go. Okay, so zooming in. So MCR is max cruise, flex takeoff or flight takeoff, and MCT is max continuous thrust. Okay, so for our approach, MCT is going to be our most helpful bug, and so we're going to want this on MCT. Okay, so as we descend, I'm going to say that it's going to be probably pretty high still. Let's go 1.9 to be conservative. So those are the EPRs set. Okay, so top of descent is going to begin now. So let's just call on Unicom. Toronto traffic, Northwest 231 is descending from 13,000 feet, going to go in for a 06 left, correction 06 right approach, Toronto traffic. Okay, so we're going to begin descending. Let's go down to 3,000, which is usually the end of a 3 degrees glide slope. Set, and we just move this bug down. Okay, let's not go too crazy at first. Let's just gradually add in. Let's go 2,000 feet per minute, see how that works. Oh, we've actually got a little bit of visibility. Oh, I just love this livery. I just love this livery. I'm going to have to say that every single time I look at it. Can't wait to fly this aircraft with the, like I said, with the PMDG 741. It's going to be such a beast. A steam gauge 747. going to be crazy. Okay, coming down through 10,000 feet. Let's go back to my checklists and have a look what's going on. Checklist, descent down through... There's no down through 10,000, so let's just make sure our altimeters at this point. So that was 30... That was 3010? Set 3010, 3010 set on both sides. And yep, so seatbelts, no smokings, and let's get our landing lights on. I think in Retroland, the whole landing lights at 10,000 wasn't a big deal. I know in the F-28, you would turn them off immediately after departure. So okay, so we're overspeeding. So let's just actually, now's a fun time to show you how easy that is to decelerate now with the speed brakes, which is great. Okay, so seeing how nice actually the autopilot did a great job of continuing to hold a vertical speed of negative 2,000 feet per minute despite the changing dynamics of the speed brakes being introduced. So it correctly bled off speed. Oh, actually I should be far lower than this because we're now under 10,000 feet when you should be below sub 250. So oh yes, we are a lot closer to Toronto now than I thought we were. Okay, so let's go 109 10 109 10, and that was 57. Let's just go heading hold now. Let's take off those speed brakes. Let's arm the speed brakes now. And let's just continue. Let's just go 2,500. Okay, we might need to... Yes, I think I've definitely left this a bit too late. Let's descend at 3,000 feet per minute. We might make this. We might just make this, actually. Okay, so we're going to go ILS. Things are set. Things are okay. Let's have a look at checklists. Before landing checklist, cabin signs are on. Fuel supply, pumps, and heat is all checked and set. Pressurization we did set. Altimeters have been set and cross-checked. Engine anti-ice as required. Landing gear down 3 green. Spoilers we have armed. Flaps and slats land. Annunciator lights checked. They're all good. And landing lights extend and on. Yeah, so that's pretty much all done. $4,900. We're actually just under the glide slope now, so Toronto traffic, Northwest 231 is joining the 06 right ILS, currently 4,000 feet and descending. Toronto traffic. 06 left. It's actually 06 left. Correction, 06 left approach for Northwest 231. Okay, coming down through 3,500 feet. Let's now just correct that horrendous... Yeah, there you go. We're going to have that... Let's arm the ILS. You can see those two modes are armed now. We should be like so. We just made it. I'm quite happy with that. There you go. There's the glide slope capture. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to go manually. So I'm going to fly this all manually. And okay, we need to start getting flaps and gear down. And that wind is atrocious. We're already high and flaps. Okay, let's just introduce a bit of speed brake here. That was a very dangerous thing to do. And it's all going wrong now, as you can see. Right. Okay, somehow we're not dead. We're just 2,000 feet, and there's the glide is just gone. Okay, that's our flaps 40. Let's continue. Whoa! Is this the wind? What is... Okay, there is the glide slope. I wouldn't want to be a passenger right now, but I have set myself quite a bad challenge at trying to fly this manually. But it is quite gusty. And I can't see the ground. I can now, which is nice. Okay, 1,200 feet, I can pretty much see the ground. Is speed brake armed? It is now. There's my runway, and this should be a go around, but we'll see. We'll see. This might still be a go around. I did a horrendous adjustment on short final, and I'm still too high. Now, but I'm visual with the end of the runway, and I'm actually now, only now at 400 feet, minimum's landing. That is a very gusty wind.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Decrab, and thrust idle. Let's just taxi up to the end. Let's take the next high speed take, not this one. I'm glad there was no ATC. Oh, I should have turned on that, but there we go. Turn on the APU. That was very gusty, and there were a few moments where I almost lost the aircraft. The one thing I will say about the speed brakes is that the speed brakes in this aircraft can very, very easily get you killed, even after this new update. Let's take the strobes off and let's go dim. And I'm not going to make any more calls on Unicom, but we'll just leave it there. Let's turn off the windshield anti-icing to see if we start getting ice up. Just take a right-hand turn and then take a left here. I think what I need to do is I need to fly the DC-9 a lot more in good weather first before I would attempt a bad weather landing like this. So I think that's my feedback. I wanted to get some sort of ATC component in there this evening with the video because I don't fly enough on VATSIM as it is to really be as proficient as I would like to be. So where am I going? Oh, I'm going around here. Is that right? No, actually. I missed my gate. Oh, there we go. I'll just have to go around, but that's fine. Yeah, so just to debrief, I think everything works as it should now. So after landing checklist, spoilers have been retracted, flaps are set, air conditioning is now off, landing lights retracted and off, pneumatic crossfeed. Guess I could turn it off, I guess. Transponder on standby. That's that one there. Ooh. And anti-skid can go off. Go a little bit further there. Okay, parking brake on. Let's get the APU energy on. And we can now turn off the engines. Turn off the anti-collision. Yep, we used all the fuel in the center. We can turn on the ground power. We can turn the APU off. And that's the APU turned off. All is good. And then you can turn off the aircraft, you know, however much you want to turn it off. You can turn it off to an almost completely cold and dark sort of situation. But there we go, folks. And then you can start getting set up for your next flight. Let's see if we can actually get the jetway here. Can we get the jetway?
The boarding requested.
Yeah, we can get that jetway. Yeah. Nice. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to leave it there. Actually, let's just pop the chocks on as well. Cones and chocks. Whoa. There you go. That's a lovely shot. Okay, folks, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It is a brand new update to the Sky Simulations DC-9 for all of those who bought it on release day and decided never to use it again. What on earth is that jet bridge doing? It's called an animation, guys. Okay, right. It's just a bit glitched, but yeah. So for all of you who bought it and then threw it away and discussed on release day, come back and have a look.
Passengers to boarding
And
starting.
you can actually fly it now, as you can see. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm not going to blab on anymore, but expect to see more DC-9 content from the channel in the near future. I'm going to be flying that Swiss Air livery in Europe, and hopefully some better weather approaches at fully staffed airports in the future. So have a good evening.